At Mi40 University, Ben Pakulski coming back at you from the Mi40 gym in Tampa. This video is very unique because I've, in the last 3 months, in the last 6 weeks, had probably the best revelation of the last 17 years for upper body training with respect to me and everybody else. And here's what it is. It's the importance of the scapula and the importance of stabilization of the scapula and the ability to stabilize the scapula is, in my opinion, the #1 most important factor in hypertrophy. So most people may not think about this, but it's so incredibly important. If you can't stabilize your scapula properly, if you can't depress, if you can't retract, if you can't depress and retract from different positions at the same time, your ability to build equal muscle without injury is going to be massively inhibited. So that may sound like a bold claim, but believe me, I've been doing this stuff a long time. And when I made this slight change, when I made this slight revelation, it really put my training over the top. It really took everything in my body to a new level, decreased injuries, decreased pain, bumps and bruises, and increased my ability to contract massively. So why? Let's think about this. When I'm training my chest, what needs to happen? If you're training your chest properly, your chest needs to be elevated and your scapula needs to be retracted and depressed. When I'm training my back, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to pull down in depression and retraction. So what usually happens when people start to get tired, they'll do a pull down, they're depressed and retract, and as they start to get short, they do this. So it's the scapula going, lengthening the lats, the muscle we're trying to short. In the case of the pec, if we're trying to get the pec really, really short, as I start to get tired, what does everybody do? This. Why? Scapula goes up, lengthens the pec, muscles aren't getting as short. Same idea with arms. As we start training arms, our arms get the fatigue, if things start changing, everyone's done a preacher curl and see someone come up like this. It's the muscle trying to get long, it doesn't want to get short. So your ability to keep the scapula back and down is absolutely your most important physical attribute that contributes to long-term hypertrophy. So Kasim Hansen, our very own nutritionist and biomechanic expert, has come up with this exercise, and I give him full credit because it's absolutely brilliant, but it's the only one that, this may be complicated for you guys, but this is the only one that wires the muscles together. So here's an example. When I'm training bicep curls, if I can't externally rotate my glenohumeral joint and maintain external rotation, all of a sudden my motion starts coming here. Where the motion should be here, then it starts coming here. So most people will say, well, you need to train your external rotators. The answer is no. Training your external rotators separate of your biceps is useless as far as crossover to that specific exercise. So if I'm trying to get crossover to my bicep training, I actually have to activate my external rotators and biceps at the same time. So if I'm trying to activate my scapular retractors and depressors, which is my mid-trap, while I'm training chest or while I'm training back, those muscles need to be wired together in my nervous system. So here's how we're going to do it. Cass came up with this. Check this out. So I'm going to grab a relatively light weight. First I'm going to put the cables all the way to the top. Take a really big step back, and how far back is going to be completely independent depending on the person, but here's what I want you to see. When I'm bent over at my waist, I want those cables to be pulling my arms basically straight. I shift my weight forward so it's onto my toes, and watch what I'm doing here. I'm trying to elevate first, and then I'm trying to depress and retract at the same time, hold for an isometric at the bottom, and then I try to activate my pecs. So at the top, I'm elevating my scapula, externally rotating my humerus, depressing the scapula, hold so I make sure it's depressed, then activate through the pec. Externally rotate, elevate, and now I'm trying to elevate my scapula and push my scapula toward the cables, depress and retract, and I hold and make sure they're depressed and retracted, then I activate my pecs, and I hold for an isometric. So what you can't see that I'm doing, I'm going to turn around and show you guys. What the motion looks like is this. I'm trying to elevate, depress and retract, and then I'm coming in kind of toward my midline of my pec. See how that would fire my pec? While I'm still keeping my mid-back and trap down, there's your path. So I'm here, press and retract, in. If I want to do the same thing for my lat, what would it look like? Exactly the same motion. Start here, except it would be here. So it's a slightly different exercise, slightly different motion, but same idea. Wiring your mid-trap and your scapular retractors and depressors in with your lat. So it happens at the same time. Really, really amazing exercise that I recommend every one of you do before all of your chest workouts and most of your back workouts. In this instance, all of your back workouts until you learn it and figure it out. You don't need a lot of weight. It's a really specific exercise, but pay attention to making sure your scapula stays back and down while you're activating your pecs, because what's going to happen is as you come down, it's going to want to come up. So really pay attention to forcing those muscles to stay down. Ben Pakulski, Mi40 University, out.